Hello, world. Tis Faye here, and I'm sitting inside my truck Kismet that I have been decorating with paint pens. So I wanted to share about Kismet, my truck. I traveled with her across the United States for about a year and a half. Some of that time was spent hunkered down in the Vancouver, Washington area, Portland, Oregon-ish. And there's just so many memories that have been made with this truck. You know, she's been kind of sitting mostly idle for a while, primarily because the engine's pretty much gone. And so I also had this vehicle painted by a few different people, added decorations to the ceiling, etc. And one of the last people that got to contribute to the vehicle, they left a mark on it that to me, I needed to take back the power of this art piece, Kismet, my truck, to make it feel like mine. Because, you know, even though she's pretty much dead, I wanted to give her a proper farewell, and I thought about how we as a human species in general do something to honor the dead before sending them off, if you will. And one of those things that I've been trying to do is to send off Kismet and have its own little farewell. One of my goals is to take Kismet and have her be part of an art show or a car show. And, this isn't exactly my wheelhouse, but it does allow me to challenge myself to obtain a bucket list item, if you will, because I've always wanted my art in an art gallery or something, And I've gotten kind of close to some of that with some of my art. I hung it up at stores, but never saw money from them. Oh well. Recently, I have been collecting QR codes that I will be hiding across the car that will show little insights to moments into my travels. And a lot of it has to do with basic income, essentially fighting for people to be able to afford their inevitable human needs. And I just have used this vehicle in a lot of advocacy work around that. I find that it allowed me to feel like I was making a difference even while I was traveling. I got to meet multiple basic income advocates. This vehicle has been part of multiple car parades for basic income advocacy. I used to write words on the windows just to hurrah. I just... The goal truly is to see the world just become a little better of a place for all, as many as we possibly could make. Raising the bar on what we find acceptable treatment of other humans, So one of the other things, too, is I need to fund some of my projects that are coming up. And those projects are people walking by. I call it my project playbook. And essentially what it is a bunch of projects that I've either come up with, been inspired to write down, or want to do, or have heard about, right? And because of this core desire to make all these projects come true, I need funding. I would love to bid, my truck, starting bid of like 10,000, 1,000 even would do me a lot of good, right? But the more I made from this vehicle, anyway, One could dream, right? But it would allow this vehicle that has so many memories, like different mechanics have contributed to making her stay alive, and people have slept in the back of this, outside of just me. I have had tons of different like memories, people getting rides. Some of these memories I wasn't even included. It helps carry garbage that I picked up. It helped me do art in the park for other people. It's just and these projects that I want to do, I essentially want to create a cinematic documentary series, and part of that includes this truck, right? It is my backstory, it's my history, and as an inoperable truck, it doesn't seem like it would make much sense to do that with this vehicle. And who's to say what is and isn't like what we can do, and I just have certain goals I'll achieve, and pivot when needed, right? Not everything will come as I see it. But this project playbook that I have, it could be accomplished by starting recording my family. And I've already done some recordings of different people across the United States. My hands are dirty from doodling. It's dirty. I have ADHD, by the way, so, squirrel. I'm okay with that. Yeah, so I've already got some stuff filmed and created to make my dreams come true. I have certain skills that are not in my wheelhouse that I have to pay other people who have it in their wheelhouse, especially video editing, because that's not one of my strong suits. It's just not. And I need the money for that. I also would need the money for, I need a new vehicle. I had a different one. I named it Christmas, due to a unfortunate chain of events. I no longer have this vehicle, and so I've been borrowing one from some family of mine, which I'd like to get my own. I have a friend who is Canadian, and one of the things that he does or strives for, is to do this art collective, but really he just wants artists to be empowered, and as an artist myself, I would love to feel like I could meet my needs simply through doing art, and recording these projects and building these projects would be a form of art. Hell, I'll paint them and do murals on them so they really do look like works of art, But I have a 30-year vision, so it's going to take me a hot minute. But anyway, so he has been inspiring me to not just try harder, but to really embrace the fact that artists deserve to have a fighting chance in this world. Like, we are the creators of what we consume. But when we create, we actually, something from ourselves is released, whether it's us channeling it into something or whatever, And as someone who did art in the park, and taught many different ages of people how to do art, we need to be encouraged. We need to be inspired, And so my thought about this vehicle is like, the world is my stage, and having it on the street is my art gallery, But that's not where I want it to be for long term, They could tow this thing, which would be very sad, but always possible. The goal this week, though, is there's a basic income conference here in Portland, Oregon, and I am trying to get all the stuff done so that I can put it in the parking lot with the QR codes so that people can see it. I'm my hands are fatigued, but essentially I grabbed a razor and I was scraping off the extra paint that was on the windows on the camper shell, behind me. I could do some here for clearing the paint. I don't think I want to. My hands are tired. I got most of it, but it was too much. And then I started doodling, and then I was like, no, I'm going to record. Because that's where I want to be. This vehicle. Another thing about this vehicle is I want to say goodbye to it. And I find myself prolonging this process with the art. Easily distracted. It's okay. I embrace this side of myself. It's okay to be imperfect. It's better that way. But yeah, it was allowing me to keep track of stories. I have this little notebook that was supposed to be people's stories of their interactions with this vehicle, and unfortunately I didn't start it until late, and then I didn't continue to do when I have time and when I make adjustments, I'll write in it sometimes. And keep looking around. I have my paint pens in here and I want to just noodle. I will resist. I'm wearing this one today. This actually came from an experience in Alabama. Kismet broke down, and it took a while to repair, but I decided to stay in the area about 20 minutes away from where it broke down, and stay with this local who just took me in. So sweet of them. Anyway, it was around Christmas time, and they gave me this, and I thought that was beautiful. Their family is super sweet too. Yeah, I would love to contribute back to Alabama, actually. And I was in a town where they stopped dreaming 20, 30 years ago, and it was kind of sad, but you can tell these buildings were falling apart. These people had given up. There's no money there. There was just no money. And it made me want to learn how to help communities like that, or help community leaders help their own communities. I don't need to come in and do the work for them, but I could inspire them. And, that's kind of behind some of these projects of take what you need, leave what you can, whether that's a fridge or from a vehicle or whatever, I got inspired by someone who did the Love Fridge project, where it was a fridge where you could grab what you needed, and it was really cool. And I thought, could I replicate that? And so eventually, in the back of my mind, I'm like, well, I have to be frugal given my situation of not being, not having much money. And my mom started finding these people and places to get resources for super extra cheap. And this doctor's office that she went to as she grew up was closing down, and they had this fridge, and I was helping her load up some supplies to bring to her house. And there was a fridge, and I was like, can we take that? And she's like, yeah. And so it takes a bit of questing if you will, to do it. But she was going to estate sales and free Facebook page, with local stuff that you can pick up, yard sales, friends and family, and what do you got? It's just resource sharing. And I truly think this is a practice that more people should practice. We have toxic individualism in our country, and it's just a bit too much. And so with that said, though, I've been leaning into working with my family, and both sides of my family, and I want to just feel what that feels like, because the two sides of my family is, I've wanted to be close to my family, and during this pandemic, like, I was traveling through a lot of it. Part of me is like, I don't want to be around my family and risk them getting sick, but I also, you know, there was a lot of moments where I was just sitting with myself, you know, in nature or wherever I was, and gosh, it really allowed me to be explorative of who I am, you know, this little pilgrimage of what I could even handle. I think it caused potentially, like, real damage to my brain a little bit. I do have PTSD, so that's a thing. But I also believe in the brain being able to rewire itself, and I've been learning lots of things, and honestly, I feel like I'm, you know, they say use it or lose it kind of thing. And, you know, I think I lost a lot while I was traveling on how to live in normal society. Normal. It just made me want to do things differently. But I had to, like, relearn how to do budgeting and bills and things, because that wasn't a thing I learned. And so I'm trying to rebuild some neural networks in my brain to allow me to think in that way, because I haven't, you know, and I'm ready to just level up my skill sets and stuff. Truly. I think I can. I think if I do the things that bring me joy, that are on my bucket list, or that are just goals in general, in a way that is delayed gratification and focused energy, I could actually achieve a lot. You know, ADHD gets in the way of a lot of that, but I have been, you know, learning tips and tricks on how to overcome some of the barriers and lean into some of the pluses of ADHD, like hyperfixation. You know, you just got to learn how to adjust your schedule to accommodate. So I'm fine with that. Trying to think if there's more I truly have on the back of my mind. This vehicle has been towed so many times, usually because it's broken down, sometimes because I left it sitting too long in one place. This truck has been repaired by many people. That I find interesting too. But, like, the people who fixed her up, like, really wanted to be careful and do a little extra because they saw how much it meant to me and what she did for others. Well, I gotcha. So I'm going to be putting a QR code somewhere back here. And originally there was my family mural that was right here. While I was traveling, I wanted to have my own, what's the word? I wanted to have pictures on the wall, you know, and this is my wall, and I wanted pictures, so I glued a bunch while I was in Texas. You know, art project. And then I lost all the other pictures. And, you know, my mom and dad actually said, hey, I got some for you. And I'm like, oh, good. Because my trailer was stolen. It was just a utility trailer, kind of smaller. And, yeah, that was a bit devastating. There was just a lot in there that was very sentimental that I just don't have anymore. Whatever. Oh. There's this math pin that I painted to look like it was gold instead of the silver that it normally is. Because I like making things unique to me. You know, whatever. So, And the other thing is I want to just help invest in my own family and friends and network that's close to me. But things haven't been all that great out there, and if something was to go wrong, I wanted to at least know in my soul that I put in a solid effort. And, you know, some of that's just gardening or helping build actual, like, things, or repairing, painting, you know. There's a lot of older people in my family, and I want to be there for them more, to be involved, because I feel like I can learn so much. My goal is to get at least $10,000. That would be just enough to accomplish a decent amount of my goals. And, well, better way to empower myself than, I don't know, sell a piece of artwork. One that truly has a story. Gosh, but it's so sad. Nobody will know the true depth of the stories unless, like, I sat with them and told them, tell me about this. Thank you for scanning a QR code if you happen to see this track. If you use that to get this video, because I'm totally using that for this. Even cooler. I think you're rad. But, yeah, I think eventually I kind of want to do a little scavenger hunt too, but, like, I'm not sure yet. It's whatever. Yeah. It's got a weird smell to it, though, a little bit. Maybe I can figure that out before I leave. Yeah. Anyways, I love you all, and thank you for checking in on Kismet's journey, and I really appreciate just all the support I've had while I was fully nomadic. You know, there's a lot of hidden content all over the internet about my adventures. Intentionally. But you know, we really could be working towards making a difference if we just invested in each other. And, you know, oh, there was one more thing I wanted to talk about. So, psyched you out. All right. This vehicle, the origin story. I wanted to tell the origin story. Or should I save that for a new video? Maybe I should save that for a different video. I can, like, move over there, and then it'll look like it's a different day. I could, like, take this off, make it look... Just kidding. Now I'll just tell the origin story now. So this vehicle was given to me by somebody who was inspired by Wheels for Hope, and this is in North Carolina. And I was staying in Beaverton, Oregon at the time. And I had worked with them briefly while I had traveled, but see, I was traveling with a different partner of mine. And we had broken up after 6 months on the road together. Right? But he had the car, and so I was like, I still want to travel. This is a goal of mine. I wanted to travel across the country since, like, the beginning of... Okay, well, the origin story to that is there was a shooting outside of a bar, and I'm, like, hiding for my life. And I'm like, am I really happy? I don't know if I'm happy. I need to travel. And then I got, like, that in my head, and then it didn't happen. Fast forward, it did happen, and then it was back to square one. I was like, my partner's the one who owned the vehicle that we were traveling in, and so, like, that took a bit, but this person's like, hey, I'll fly you here. You want the car or the truck? And I was like, yeah. So with like just a backpack and a suitcase, I think, I just went on a plane and got this truck, and then eventually named it Kismet. It was originally a silver truck. It's like red and got all sorts of artsy things on it. The camper shell came from, I'm going to say Tennessee, just as I traveled, I added a little bit more. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, Wheels for Hope is this thing where they take donated vehicles and they get mechanics to donate their time, and the mechanics actually are the ones who fix it up and they give it to somebody who needs it. I love how we have this like really giving nature, but I also believe people should be paid fairly for the work that they do, especially at minimum to be able to afford their inevitable human needs. Whether that's a roof over their head or food in their stomach or whatever, but like baseline affording of costs is pretty expensive to just stay alive, literally. It's kind of lame. I don't want to be a slave, and society kind of borderline made me feel that way. It's still kind of, and especially now that I'm like not living out of my vehicle. This vehicle was mine, my home, mine, and I just never truly get that back. I don't have a home. I have an apartment, but I have my childhood home where my mom still lives. I can contribute to things that matter to me. Anyway, I was trying to go with that. I'm a mess. Anyway, yeah. Oh, so I'm going to be a panelist at this conference, the Basic Income Conference, and it's like on Friday in the morning that I'm going to be doing it. And whew, oh boy, I'm excited, but also it's too early for me. Not too early. I got this. Just gonna wake up like the crack of dawn. Whatever. And I'm going to be talking about how my journey allowed me to see things from, like on the ground across our country, like the different holes in our safety nets, and how it felt to experience these things, because I really did need them. It's not like I was like it was a mixture. At first I was like, man, I really need these services. And I was like, well, maybe I should be evaluating these services. And then it was just like, oh, well, okay, I'm going to like research as I go and do the best I can. And, it worked. It did the thing it was supposed to. Because now I have a bunch, and now I'm a panelist. I can express my findings, essentially. I've only really talked in front of a large group of people a couple times in my life, so we'll see how that goes. But I'm excited nonetheless. And, I've been meeting with local activated advocates in this area. I just got coffee today with one of them. I'm supposed to with two. But, unfortunately, the other person double booked themselves, so I'm like, that's fine. But yeah, like I'm trying to like find people to work with, and I think it's going to come along and be a thing where I do achieve my goals. And I hope that you guys get to be along that journey. You like my false ending, and then I went like 10 more minutes. Whatever. Anyways, guys, I love you, and thank you to all who have been there for me, and for the ones that haven't met me, hi. Maybe, we'll see how things progress in the future, and, I just feel hopeful, and I know a lot of people don't these days, but I do. Anyway, I hope you have a great rest of your day, week, month, year, existence. Lots of joy. Enjoy the ebbs and flows to life, because it's not all fun and games, but here's learning. I'm sorry. Bye.